Bettor Sports Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and this is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page, the Bettor Sports Network YouTubes. Thanks for jumping in here on a Friday afternoon, a football Friday. I missed last week's Friday, so I'm feeling good to be back here in the saddle with Howard Bender jumping in here too. What's up, man?
What's going on, Servo? I'm excited, man. You know, like we did the last time I was on the show, we had a great time with some MLB bets, right?
Yeah.
Texas Rangers, ooh. And then we talked a little NFL, right, on Wednesday. So, dude, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to dive into this slate. I'm ready to make some picks. I'm ready to win some money.
Yeah, those Wednesday shows are always awesome because it's like it gives you a good first taste of some of the lines, some of the odds, and maybe you change your opinion or your lean on it by this show Friday. Maybe change it again by Sunday, but the first taste of it on Wednesday shows are nice. Yeah, and the baseball, we had James Grande on yesterday's show. I was kind of expecting at least one Game 3 wild card game to talk about with him, but all four series ended in 2-0 sweeps. So, it is what it is. But yeah, it should be next week's shows. We got divisional round games going on every night, so it'll be good to get some picks in for those games next week. But this is Friday; it's a football Friday, and we got a ton of Week 5 games and bets and player props, touchdown predictions to give out to everyone here, as we normally do on these Friday shows. If you have any picks of your own, by the way, definitely throw them in the chat here on YouTube, Discord, wherever you guys are tuning in from. We'll give our opinions on those. Maybe we agree on some. Maybe you're looking to fade us on some. But either way, definitely get involved in the chat there. All right, let's just kind of review last night because you gave out some winners on the best bets article for Thursday Night Football. You had the Bears and the over both cash in there?
I had the Bears and the over both cashed.
Nice.
Which was hysterical. And then my top two props, I always list. I mean, I don't love player props by any stretch of the imagination, but I do like throwing down a couple in there for people who like it. And I always do it based on my narrative. So
yeah.
The funny thing is that, all right, so Sam Howell over 1.5 passing touchdowns, that hit. All right, Justin Fields over 47.5 rushing yards, that hit.
Nice.
But Cole Kmet did not hit the under on his receiving yards. Roshan Johnson got concussed. He got knocked out of the game, so his receptions prop went. And then I had a Brian Robinson anytime touchdown. I said it to you, earlier. We took the scenic route, but we got to this place that we needed to get to. We hit with the Bears. We hit with the over. My narrative was completely off, but we still got there with it. I mean, the only way, for my narrative to have really to this game would have been like Washington, 60-0 for, my other narrative, for the other narrative against mine to actually hit. So this kind of went my way in a roundabout sort of way. I felt good about it. I profited. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You just take the win and you don't ask why.
Yesterday's show, me and Grande gave out some picks. I went 2-2 on mine. Gave out the first half under, which did not cash. The Bears came out firing there. The Brian Robinson rushing attempts did not hit either because I thought the Commanders might be playing with a lead, feeding him more. So that definitely went under. But did hit on the Sam Howell rushing yards going over 13.5. So that was a good one. And then, Justin Fields passing yards, his rushing yards and passing yards props both hit. So it was good to be on that. And that was, it looked like that was going to be cashing early too in that game, which was a good vibe for the Bears side of things. Neither of us predicted DJ Moore 3 touchdowns, though, I see.
Oh, well, I mean, that's so funny because I was like, man, DJ Moore is probably going to get 220 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. I was so in on that. I'll tell you what, I want to know, Smokey the Cat says that single game parlay hit hard. Did Smokey have a single game parlay from last night? Was it like a legitimate, was it like a sensible parlay, or was it like a centipede again, where like Smokey loves these like 12-leg parlays that just get
Smokey,
crazy.
throw it in the chat, because I do forget all the legs to it. I do think DJ Moore was in it. I think Justin Fields was in it too. So I think he had the Bears on the alt line too. So like, I mean, that hit easy. But yeah, throw it in the chat, Smokey, if you have it ready, because I forget all the legs. But listen, Smokey throws those parlays out. Sometimes they hit, and if it's a game like last night where people didn't expect the Bears to win by multiple scores, so sometimes you get these big. I saw. You always see on Twitter, like, all these betting accounts tweeting out like all these big wins. There's some people out there that bet, 3 touchdowns for DJ Moore and hit big on these bets. So,
well, I mean, that's
you want to see how many times they lose those. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Nobody's posting their screenshots of their losses.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, listen, I like to, I like, transparency with my stuff. But yeah, I mean, listen, if I do something a little wacky, a little, off the reservation, then, I'm going to have it here. Oh, Smokey's prop is
he's got it in there.
Fields, 1 passing touchdown. DJ Moore plus 3 receptions. DJ Moore touchdown. Komet 2.5 receptions. And the Bears won. Wow. Yeah, I would have
hit on all of them.
Smokey, my man, what did that finish out at? What were the odds, on that?
That was probably some juicy odds there,
right? I like that. Good job, man. Very good job. I love that. I love seeing that.
Yeah, and he threw that in as we were giving our own picks out. He made that on his own. So yeah, if you guys got your own bets and your own same game parlays are gonna throw at us, maybe we'll tail some of these, because you guys can also hit on these, sometimes smarter than us for sure on these reads. So
Smokey, email me your next big one for this Sunday, and we'll ride and die together.
There you go.
Howard at fantasyalarm.com.
With that in mind, let's turn to these Week 5 Sunday games, because we got a lot of games to break down, some picks to give out here. I'll let you have the board here. Anywhere you want to go with your first pick you want to throw out here.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to go with the Carolina Panthers plus 10, in this game. I mean, their defense, to me, the Panthers defense is really, really good. Is are the Lions? Oh, look, I'm looking at it right now, and the line is now at minus 9.5. It was up to 10. I was like, come on, like that to me. So I've got it at 10. If you can get it at 10, get it at 10. I mean, I get it. You're going to have David Montgomery, running all over the Lions. I just don't see, you don't pass on the Carolina Panthers. I mean, Kirk Cousins, 136 passing yards. Yes, he had 2 touchdowns, and they went to Justin Jefferson, right? So Jefferson had a great fantasy day. But overall, the passing attack from Minnesota, which is normally highly potent, was neutered against Carolina. And, had Bryce Young not fumbled that football and the Minnesota Vikings scored that defensive touchdown, Carolina was winning that game. So, I look at this and I'm like, Jared Goff, he probably isn't going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who didn't practice again today. So that's 3 straight days of missed practices. Dan Campbell's like, well, we'll evaluate him on Saturday and see. I'm sorry, but I can't. I just don't see the Detroit Lions covering a double-digit point spread against the Panthers. Their defense, their run defense is good, is solid, whatever. And so, yeah, it's a little going to be, nerve-wracking for Bryce Young. But when you've got Thielen and DJ Chark revenge game, I think that this game just stays a lot closer than people are giving credit to the Panthers for.
All right. Listen, the Panthers are 0-4 against the spread so far, and that's like, obviously maybe you're like, all right, maybe they won't cover here, but like history suggests that they will cover a game in these next, whether it's this week, next week. They might not win outright, but just the fact that they are 0-4 against the spread, history just kind of, I think it's, I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but it's like something like a 60% hit rate of like teams in week 4 or week 5, covering a spread if they're starting out 0-4 against the spread. So I'm with that. I mean, yeah, the Amon-Ra St. Brown injury and likely absence is, I think, notable here for sure. And Bryce Young, I just think he's getting more comfortable now that he's back from his injury too. So he could keep it close here. We got Kayaks. By the way, Smokey's saying he loves the show. Thank you, Smokey. Kayaks and Bronzebacks. Steelers versus Ravens. First drive result -120 on FanDuel. Steelers offense not good. Steelers defense solid. What is the result? I don't see the result there. Maybe not to score, I guess. I don't know what the
Steelers to punt at -120.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the pick is there. So let us know what your pick is for sure. Because
first drive result. Oh, I guess maybe he's like it's just whatever the result is of the first drive. So it could be Steelers punt, or it could be, I don't know, maybe it's just punt. Oh, there it is.
Punt, yeah.
Steelers defense solid. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think that's a terrible bet, especially if you're dealing with two teams that have seen each other a bunch, division rivals. You don't expect one team. I think the Ravens win this game, right? But Steelers defense always at home, performs fairly well. So yeah, I feel like
I do think it's gonna be a defensive battle for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fine bet. You just want to say that there's going to be a punt, regardless of who gets the ball first. Yeah. So -120, sure.
Well, now that we're on that game, one of my bets here. You said you like the Ravens to win, but if I can get the Steelers to cover, that's fine. I'm taking the Steelers +4.5 here. I just think it's a good buy low on the Steelers. Kenny Pickett's coming back, which may or may not be a good thing for the Steelers, and their offense looks terrible.
Anytime you're taking Mitch Trubisky out, it's a good thing.
Okay, there we go. But also it's a sell high in the Ravens. And just looking back at the history of this Steelers-Ravens rivalry, the against the spread trends and numbers are just seriously backing the Steelers here. And I have to go with it because the underdog in this series, while Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh have faced off, the underdog is 81% against the spread in these recent years. Underdog of as a home dog, which the Steelers are, 82% against the spread. Underdog coming off a loss by 7 or more, which the Steelers are, 89% against the spread. Steelers have also won 5 of the last 6 against the Ravens in this series. The underdog has also covered 11 straight in this series. So a lot of points are pointing me to the Steelers. Mike Tomlin as an underdog, we've gone over it before on this show. He's just been very profitable to back as an underdog, especially here as a home dog and in a rivalry spot where they're going to come out firing, especially coming off that loss last week. I think they're going to be really amped for this game. Lamar Jackson, by the way, he's 0-3 against the spread in his career against the Steelers. He's been really good as a favorite over his whole career, but as an underdog, those against the spread trends really go against them, especially when it's a shorter spread like this one. So, again, back in the Steelers here. The Ravens, too, by the way, they have a lot. They're really banged up on both sides of the ball. Ronnie Stanley, their tackle, is questionable. Morgan Moses is doubtful, likely out. Odell, it might be back, but he's questionable. Marlon Humphrey also, returned to practice, but he might be out as well. So just a lot of, injuries on both sides of the ball for the Ravens at key spots that just have me leaning again towards the Steelers. So give me the Steelers +4.5.
All right. Listen, that is data central right there for you. You had everything laid up. Boom. So I am not going to take the other side of that argument, other than the fact that, hey, maybe at least the Ravens win the game outright. But
they can win by a field goal. I'm good with that.
Right? There it is. Justin Tucker, everybody.
Justin Tucker for a game winner at the end. I'm good.
All right. I'm gonna go to let's go to Colts Titans. Let's do it, because you and I are actually on opposite sides of this, sort of. We could both. We could both. Dude,
we're gonna play to a draw. Okay.
Well, we could draw, right? We could both hit, right? Because I've got the Colts +2.5, but you've got Tennessee money line. So, I think it's just, how are we breaking down this game? How are, what are we thinking? Are you scared that Jonathan Taylor is going to be in the backfield this weekend? Does that make you a little nervous?
I'm not scared. I'm really not. Listen, when we did Wednesday's show, I mentioned it earlier, you get some really, early leans on stuff. The Titans were, I think, 1-point underdogs on Wednesday when we looked at these early lines. The line is flipped over to the Tennessee, and in that Wednesday show, I mentioned I would go with the Titans. I think they should be favored here. I think they're the better team, even on the road here. I like the Titans. So now that the line has flipped, I'm just going with the money line. It is 2.5 as a spread, but you can get -130 on the money line at DraftKings. Not too bad. Listen, Jonathan Taylor, if he comes back, when he comes back here, the Colts run game, I think, is going to struggle against the Titans rush defense that was the best in the league last year.
Sure.
And what is like a top, 3 rush defense this year. I think that plays immediately into the Titans' favor because it's going to put more pressure on Anthony Richardson, which, listen, he's looked, dynamic at times. He's making plays, but he's still a rookie quarterback in a rivalry matchup here against the Titans defense. That's, we're going to put pressure on him. And Derrick Henry, I have a prop coming up on Derrick Henry. He's had a lot of success against the Colts over his career. And I think they're going to lean on him. If they have a lead, I just think they're going to feed him and really, let him kind of take, the other way, take the pressure off Tannehill, which I don't totally trust. But, that's where I'm going. The Titans, by the way, have dominated this rivalry in recent years. They've won 5 straight against the Colts. So I think that's also just, having that mindset of like, we're going to go in there and beat them. It doesn't matter. It's on the road. I just like the Titans. I think they're just a better team. Jonathan Taylor coming back, maybe that has you leaning towards the Colts as the underdogs here.
What I'd like to know is how in the world are you saying that the Titans are a better team? Have you seen Ryan Tannehill play at all this year? Like, he looks atrocious.
The games, though, that he's looked bad is when he has to throw it more when they're trailing. But if they get out to a lead and they can just lean on Henry, I think it changes things.
Have they been able to lean on Henry so far? Now, I know that in years past, Henry has started off the season a little on the slow side, but can we also account for the fact that Tennessee's offensive line is terrible? It's tough to take Derrick Henry down, absolutely. But, still, he could have 75, 80 rushing yards in a game, and the Titans will end up with like 3 points.
Last week it happened. It was against the Bengals, but they got out to a lead and they gave Bengals, Henry 20 plus carries.
You and I could score on the Bengals. Like, just you and I. That's it. Seriously. And that would be you at quarterback and me running my fat ass down the field to the middle to be like, throw me the ball. Like, we could score on the Bengals, dude. You know what? The thing that I think it cracks me up the most. Right, is people don't realize the magnitude of losing Von Bell and Jesse Bates from that secondary.
Yeah.
Now you're also got Chidobe Awuzie, who's banged up, and on the other side, Cameron Taylor-Britt is banged up. That secondary sucks. So to see the Tennessee Titans put up points on that defense the defense's case does not hold water.
My point was, though, that they got out to a lead and they just let Henry kind of, pace the offense and pace the game.
Because, you know what? You blocking for me, running my fat ass behind you, could run on the Cincinnati Bengals. Dude, the Bengals are a mess right now, dude. A mess.
That's fair.
Hot mess.
So you're on the Colts plus the 2.5, and I'm on the money line. But again, we could get a 1-point win, and we're both good, right?
But I'm hoping that we win this outright, and we just because I'm serious. Because here's the thing: as great as Tennessee's run defense is, that's great, that's fine. But now all of a sudden, think about this. Think about an RPO where you have to wonder: is Anthony Richardson just going to run it himself? Is he going to pitch it back to Jonathan Taylor, or Is he going to like dump it over our slow ass linebackers' heads and into the arms of Michael Pittman for a 25-yard pass? Like that's like all of a sudden, I think, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Zach Moss, but Zach Moss is not Jonathan Taylor, just talent wise. No, and I think that you have to respect that aspect of Jonathan Taylor coming back. I mean, I could be totally wrong here, but I don't think I am. I like taking the points there. I'm with you. I would love it if you and I could both win on this one. Fine. Let's let Rod Baronis or whoever the kicker is for the Tennessee Titans, let him kick that game-winning field goal for you at the end.
All right.
Just to give you like a 1 or a 2 point lead, though. I still need
I'm
the
fine with it. I'm fine with that. All right. Let's move on to another game here.
Why? That one was so much fun.
Let's see if we disagree on any others here coming up. All right. What else? Where you want to go with your next pick?
Listen, I'm a sucker. Atlanta Falcons, 13 points in their last 2 games. They couldn't cover the spread there against the Jaguars in London. Maybe they should be on a bye after the trip, but the NFL gives teams the opportunity to choose whether or not they want a bye week right after the London game. And the Falcons were like, nah, we're good, bro. I'm taking them -1.5. I think everybody's kind of overrating the Texans. You can run on the Texans, and when you've got Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, boom, 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 boom. It doesn't matter that Desmond Ridder sucks at football. It doesn't matter that Kyle Pitts is going to catch 1 pass for 8 yards, and it doesn't matter if Drake London does anything or not. You're just going to run all over the Texans. And listen. Good luck seeing Nico Collins going up against AJ Terrell. You got Jeffrey Okudah on the other side, the aforementioned Jesse Bates transforming that secondary for Atlanta. I'm probably going to tilt on the under in this horror show of a game, even though it's a 41.5 under. But more importantly, I'm taking the Falcons and I'm laying the points.
Yeah, the decision of not having a bye right after a London game is interesting. I wonder if the first half, you're probably going to be an under. The first half might be an under too. I would consider, but yeah, the Falcons. By the way, I don't know if you've seen the stat. Desmond Ridder is undefeated in his NFL and college careers at home. This over his time at Cincinnati and now here in the NFL with the Falcons. Kind of crazy stat.
That's like saying that Trent Dilfer is a Super Bowl champion. I mean, come on. We all know that there's something else involved there. Way to go, Desmond Ridder.
Listen, there's something to be said about a guy that just keeps winning whenever he's at home.
I know, but I don't want to say it because we'll get flagged for like improper language or something like that.
Well, he's sleeping in his own bed. Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Speaking of teams coming off a London game, I'm going to the Jaguars, who are staying in London for this game. Back-to-back London games for them. Going against the Bills here, and I'm taking the over 48.5. I like how the Bills offense has now hit its stride, 37 plus points in 3 straight games coming in here. The Jags, though, I think they're going to be starting to click more. Trevor Lawrence, I think, is getting more comfortable. They get Cam Robinson, their offensive tackle, back from suspension, which I think is huge for that O-line, which is kind of let Lawrence down. He's been a lot more pressured early in the season, but I think Robinson's going to shore things up, at least on the edge there. And the Bills secondary, losing Tre'Davious White to season-ending injury, I think is huge. They also have their cornerback Christian Benford questionable to play. Jordan Poyer dealing with a knee injury. Looks like he's going to play, but still just having another couple banged up secondary guys after losing Tre'Davious White, I think is very notable. And it's going to impact, just their ability to limit Lawrence and the passing attack, who, I think staying in London, playing this back-to-back is a benefit for them. I consider the Jags to cover the spread here for that reason too, with Buffalo coming over, maybe some tired legs, early on in the game. The Bills defense also, Von Miller questionable to play coming off on his injury. We'll see if he does. But they also are without another pass rusher, Greg Rousseau, who's out for this game. So just the Bills, a couple of key injuries on that side of the ball. And I think the Jaguars offense is gonna really keep pace with the Bills offense, which we know how good it is. So give me the over here at 48.5. Really interesting stat trend, by the way. I love my stats and trends here.
Mm-hmm.
Games at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is where this one's being played. It's not at Wembley. It's at Tottenham Hotspur. Over is 5-1 all time in these games. The under is very much the way to go when the games are in Wembley. But when it's been at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, for whatever reason, these games are 5-1 to the over. So I see, a Jaguars offense that should start getting better, and a Bills offense is already really good. So give me the over here.
I like this bet a lot. Actually, I was doing a video for a partner of ours about the game across the pond, and and I looked at that and I was like, all right, well, for fantasy, you look at Stephon Diggs and you look at Travis Etienne, because actually, you did cite all of the injuries for the Bills in their secondary, but they struggle against the run. They only rank 24th in DVOA against the run. So, that's a vulnerability of theirs. But I said I like the Jags plus the points because I do think that they can keep this one close. And then I said I'd like the over in this game at 48.5 because both offenses are potent and both offenses should be able to put some points up on the board. I didn't even know that Tottenham Hotspur is the over is already 5-1. So
it's a trap meet
give
there.
Me some. I dig that, baby. I dig that. All right, I got an over-under for you here as well, Servo.
All right.
The aforementioned Bengals and that, so amazing defense. Let's not forget that we are still talking about the Arizona Cardinals, and that is not a good defense either. Now, I don't love Joe Burrow's calf situation. Bums me out. But we've seen him do okay. Not from a fantasy standpoint, but from just a natural, a regular old standpoint, getting some yardage for, guys like Jamar Chase. I think in this game that, Burrow a little bit healthier than he was before, said he felt good after last Sunday, that we get ourselves a little bit of a free-for-all. Cardinals, Bengals over 44. 44? I mean, if we weren't so worried about the Bengals, about Joe Burrow's calf, I mean, this game here easily would be like a 48 game, like easily. Joshua Dobbs, he's got Michael Wilson, Rondell Moore, Zach Ertz, Marquise Hollywood Brown. I mean, Dobbs himself, a running quarterback, a mobile QB. He's averaged 48 rushing yards per game over the last 3 weeks. So when you're passing against a putrid secondary that is also dealing with questionable status and injuries to their top 2 corners, and their safeties are trash. Sorry, man, but I think Arizona puts up some points here. And then I think that, Joe Burrow he's going to have to, tough it out, sling that rock, and we get ourselves like a little bit of a back and forth. So over 44 is where I'm going.
All right. Yeah. The Cardinals are 3-1 to the over with 3 straight games of theirs hitting the over. So yeah, their offense could definitely take advantage of that Bengals shaky secondary and defense. And yeah, their defense is terrible. I feel like a lot of their games might end up on the higher scoring end if Dobbs can at least do a little bit. So I like that call. All right, my last game pick before we get to some player props for week 5. I'm going with the 49ers in this big matchup, 49ers Cowboys. Just give me the 49ers to cover here as 3.5-point favorites. I just think they're I know the Cowboys are viewed as like one of the top teams in the NFC along with the 49ers, but I just think the 49ers are just a little bit a step above them right now. I know, so both teams have really not been tested. The Cowboys, though, these are the first 4 opponents they've had: the Giants, the Jets, the Cardinals, which they lost that game, and the Patriots. And the 49ers also played the Cardinals and Giants, but they also went on the road in week 1, beat the Steelers, which I think is a tough way to start the season, but they got it done. And they went on the road and beat the Rams in week 2. So I think a little bit more battle tested for the 49ers, where the Cowboys are just coming in here playing a lot of easier opponents. I think it could be a little bit of a wake-up call. 49ers have one of the best rush defenses in the league again after a really good unit last year. I think they're going to limit Tony Pollard here, put more pressure on Dak Prescott in that passing attack, which really hasn't come through totally this season. I mean, the one game where they actually had to lean on Prescott and the passing game was when they lost that game to the Cardinals, where they trailed and had to really come back. And they failed to complete the comeback against, a bad Cardinals team, which I think says something. The Cowboys defense also has been vulnerable on the ground this year, just about league average in terms of their rush defense. I think that's trouble against Christian McCaffrey in this 49ers attack. So, yeah, give me the 49ers to win here and cover the spread. I'm not afraid of the 3.5. It would be nice if it was at 3, but I'm fine with this. I think it could be like a full touchdown win for the 49ers at home, which, by the way, they've now covered the spread in 9 straight home games, have the 49ers. So give me them to do it for 10 straight here.
You had me at look at who the Cowboys have played already. Like that, like you had me there, Servo. So I love that. Yeah. I'm 100% in for that. I'm 100% in for that.
Love it.
Dude.
And then Monday's show will be with your friend Jim Bowden there.
My friend Jim Bowden will be so excited about it. So excited about it. All right, let's do some player props.
Let's do it. Let's dive into these props. All right, where are you going with one of your props?
All right. Well, here we go. I talked about this earlier in the show, and that is that you do not, you don't pass on Carolina. You run against Carolina. I am not a Jared Goff truther. Amon-Ra St. Brown is banged up. He might not even play. Josh Reynolds could be the number 1 wide receiver. He's still a little questionable. I don't know how Sam Laporta carries this offense on his shoulders for 250 yards. No, it's not going to happen. So give me Jared Goff under 239.5 passing yards. I just don't think he gets it done.
Well, yeah. On that same note, you like a Lions rushing prop too, right?
Oh,
Megan?
Spoiler alert there. Yeah.
Well, I figured we'll stay in that same conversation.
Double down on the Detroit Lions. Under for Jared Goff passing yards. Over 71.5 rushing yards for David Montgomery. I love me some David Montgomery. You love you some David Montgomery. Everybody elsewhere loves David Montgomery. Right? He couldn't possibly get as many touchdowns as Jamal Williams, could he?
He's doing it.
Dude's got 5 in 3 games right now.
Yeah, when we get to our touchdown calls, I wanted to go with David Montgomery, but it was like juiced up at like minus 175 or something.
I know, right?
So.
I hate minus touchdown props.
All right, I'm going back to that Colts-Titans game, and I mentioned Derrick Henry can have some success here. You kind of poo-pooed that idea, whatever. But listen, Jonathan Taylor's been the talk of this Colts-Titans matchup, but I'm looking at Henry here. I'm going the other side. He's historically, we all know, if you play fantasy, you probably know this. He's smashed the Texans in his career. Always has massive games against them, but he's also had plenty of success against the Colts in this divisional matchup. His last 4 seasons, when he's faced the Colts, he's averaging 116 rushing yards per game. He's been over this line, 75.5 rushing yards. He's been over it in 7 of his last 8 matchups against the Colts. 6 of those have been 100-yard games. I think he's going over 75.5 yards here. He's been over it twice this season. And both those overs have come, as I mentioned earlier, when the Titans have gotten a lead, played a little bit ahead. One of them was like an overtime win against the Chargers, but it was still, a close enough matchup where they can feed Derrick Henry. This spread indicates that it's going to be close throughout. So I think Henry's going to get his, 20 carries or so. I have them winning, but I still think either way, he's going to get over 75.5 rushing yards. The Colts, by the way, they've allowed opposing rushers to go over this line in 3 of 4 games so far. And the only one that didn't was against the Texans, where they had a lead. C.J. Stroud had to throw it 47 times to play catch up in that game. I think Derrick Henry goes over this easy. I think we could be looking at another 100+ yard game if you want to look at some alt lines there too. No rebuttal.
Something stinks in here. I'm trying to think of what. It's the Tennessee.
It's this line because it's too low.
It's too low. It's too low for you. Listen again. That's fine. Fine. I love you. I'm anti this narrative. May he get 76 rushing yards for you.
Listen, 76. He can go over this, and my Titans money line can cash, and your Colts spread pick.
You should just give me another prop and something that you think maybe I'll like.
All right. How about this one?
This was giving me a little.
All right. How about this one? You said you agreed with my Jaguars Bills over pick for the London game. So I'm going to a prop in that game. Give me Dalton Kincaid over 3.5 receptions at plus 135 on DraftKings.
Dude, I gotta open a window. Something stinks.
You don't like this one either?
In here now. Oh,
let me convince you on Dalton Kincaid if that's what you don't think I should do. But listen, Kincaid has had at least 4 receptions now in 3 or 4 games coming into this one. He's getting most of his targets and receptions from the slot, which the Jaguars have struggled against a little bit. 3 opposing tight ends against the Jaguars have had at least 4 receptions against them this season. Kylan Granson did it in week 1 for the Colts. Week 2, we had Kelsey go over this, and Noah Gray and him combined for 7 catches at the tight end position. Week 3, Dalton Schultz and Brevin Jordan only had 3 combined receptions, but Stroud has not been targeting his tight ends as much, so I'm kind of throwing that one out a little bit. Week 4, Jonnu Smith went over this, and him and Kyle Pitts combined for 8 receptions. So I know Dawson Knox and Kincaid are kind of splitting the tight end duties there, but Knox coming off a quad injury, I know he's going to play, but I think it's going to result in more Kincaid snaps because also his snaps and target share, especially his target share, have been rising over the last few games, becoming more involved as one of the top targets for Josh Allen in this offense. So I love the plus money on this pick for him to go over 3.5 catches.
I don't hate this prop.
Okay.
No. I'll tell you why. Because I don't love it either. Dalton Kincaid needs to take a ton of snaps out of the slot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're looking for from him anyway. Let Dawson Knox be the natural tight end. Let Dalton Kincaid end up working out of the slot, because the Jaguars they rank 24th in the league in DVOA against slot receivers in coverage. So it does sort of play into that narrative that if they're doing if they're going to run Stephon Diggs outside, because Stephon Diggs works all over the place, right? And so when he's on the outside, if they use Kincaid as a slot guy instead of like Trent Sherfield or Khalil Shakir, then Dalton Kincaid could end up with this. I don't know, man. I'm just super lukewarm on him overall, just because we just haven't seen the production out of him at all. And I'm not going to say it's a rookie tight end or anything like that. It's like it's a shared tight end role, and he's still trying to also learn what he needs to do as far as blocking as a slot receiver, which is not something that he's like always lined up and done.
Well, at Utah, he did line up in the slot a bunch. So he does have experience.
Well, then he just sucks at the NFL then, because he's
he's getting used to the Bills offense, I guess.
Okay. All right.
Listen, I think he's trending up, though. I know he started a little bit slow, but the 3.5 receptions, as I mentioned, he's been over this in 3 or 4 games. So even though he has started a little slow.
I always root for your props to hit. In this case, I'm rooting against the Derrick Henry one. Fine. The Dalton Kincaid one, I will support you on.
Okay.
All right. Let me give you one that we can both love. All
We'll
right.
see. We'll see.
Bijan Robinson. We all love Bijan, right? 112 and a half rushing and receiving yards. I mean, come on. This is Houston, right? What do you do against Houston? How do you beat the Texans? Didn't your boy Derrick Henry own the Texans as far as running? Now, listen, I'm not saying that Bijan Robinson is built like Derrick Henry, but have you seen a picture of Bijan Robinson? I think with the way he works in the passing game as well, I think it's fantastic. If we're expecting this game to be hard nosed, hard fought, I think Bijan has to stay very heavily involved in this one. So from minus 115 over 112 and a half rushing and receiving yards, I think you can get on board with that, can't you, Daniel?
I can definitely get on board. Get on board. Yeah, I mean, I love looking at his combined rushing and receiving that you're doing here because his work in the passing game, as you mentioned, just adds another wrinkle to this whole thing where he might go under his rushing yards prop, but the rushing plus receiving is a lot better chance of hitting. So I like your call on there. All right, my other pick here, I'm going with Patrick Mahomes, or actually, yeah, I'll go with Patrick Mahomes here. Over 2.5 passing touchdowns in this matchup against Minnesota. High total, as we know. I almost took the over in this one, but I think it's going to be a back and forth game. Mahomes coming off one of his worst games in a while last week against the Jets, only had one passing touchdown, 2 picks in that game. But again, that was against a really good Jets defense, a top tier secondary. I'm expecting a big bounce back effort here for the Chiefs offense and specifically Mahomes in terms of throwing multiple scores here. I'm going with, the over 2.5 passing touchdowns against the Vikings secondary. Vikings have allowed 7 passing touchdowns through 4 games so far. Justin Herbert had 3 touchdowns against them earlier this season. I think Mahomes can match or better that. Last year, by the way, Mahomes, when he threw 1 or 0 touchdowns in the regular season, with a game following that, he bounced back in the next game 3 of 4 times with 3+ passing touchdowns. So I think he's going to bounce back here. I like the Chiefs, even though they're on the road. I just think they're going to tear up the Vikings secondary here. So yeah, give me his touchdowns, plus 135 on DraftKings to get 3 or more here.
I love that. I do. I'm very much in on Pat Mahomes this weekend, and maybe, just maybe, I've got a touchdown, anytime touchdown call that relates to this one. But before I do that, let me throw one for you, Servo, since I've been so mean and rotten to you this whole show. All right, how about this? Dallas Goedert gets back in the action, ladies and gentlemen. Over 3.5 receptions in this matchup against the Rams. The Rams, they do not cover the tight end well. They rank, I want to say 21st or 22nd in DVOA against the tight end position, giving up like an average of 6.5 to 7.5 catches. I think it's 6.5 catches for, 50 some odd yards. So I'm looking at Dallas Goedert here over the middle of the field. I know AJ Brown, squeaky wheel, got the grease last week. Devonta Smith will want to get his. But really beyond that, I mean, yeah, I think that they'll run the ball well with DeAndre Swift, but I think they got to get Goddard back into the mix here. You got to show that there is another element to this passing game, and it's not just Brown and Smith. So over 3.5 receptions for you here, Servo. Minus 120 on DK.
Listen, I can get behind that as an Eagles fan, so I definitely can approve. But yeah, I like your point of, AJ Brown has got the last 2 games. I do think it's going to be time for Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, some of these other guys that are going to now be more open because teams are not going to be reacting to what the Eagles have done through the air with Brown, maybe throwing them some double coverages. So yeah, and the Rams track record of not covering tight ends well. I like that. If you didn't throw that in, I might have thrown in a Goddard prop too as well here. So I like that call. All right, I'm going with Devon Achane, over 49.5 rushing yards for him, minus 114 on FanDuel. Listen, I know Mostert is there. These guys are going to be splitting work probably all season as long as they're both healthy. But I'm looking at Achane. listen, if you haven't realized, he ran for 200 plus yards 2 weeks ago. He ran for 100 plus yards last week in a game that they lost big against the Bills. And this line is at 49.5. I think he can get 50 plus rushing yards. The Giants defense, who Achane and the Dolphins are facing here, allowing 133.8 rushing yards per game this year. It's the 7th most in the league. Giants defense has allowed an opposing rusher to run for 70 plus yards in all 4 games this year. Again, he's splitting the backfield with Mostert, but Mostert, I think, might not see as much work or as many carries as Achane overall in this game because he is he got banged up. He's practicing. He's going to play, but he was kind of limited last week against the Bills. Achane got a little bit more work, but also with the spread indicating that this should be an easy win for the Dolphins. I think it's up to like 12.5 now for the Dolphins as favorites. And I think that just leads to more touches in the second half, more carries for Achane. So give me his rushing yards prop over. By the way, his snap share has now been just shooting up, trending up every single game. He was at 0 in week 1, only played 6 snaps in week 2. But against that game against the Broncos, yes, it was a little bit of a blowout effort. He only played, but he still played 41%. Last week, he played 60% of the offensive snaps in a game. Again, they were trailing against Buffalo. So his explosiveness, he can get over 50.5, maybe on one carry, but I'm not getting that greedy. I just think he goes over this.
Just to play devil's advocate, based off of the 2 weeks that Achane's had, don't you feel 49.5 is a little on the low side? Does that worry you at all?
I think it's that low because Mostert is still there and technically the lead back. So I think it's appropriate for, a backup running back to be in this spot. So
I love Achane. I really do. And I hope that he gets, that he does hit this one. Absolutely. Giants run defense is not good.
Not good. All right, how about some touchdown calls to wrap up this show? I think we both got one each. Usually we're real. Touchdown. I forgot we had an awesome intro there. All right. We both got one each here. Usually we're rolling off, multiple picks, but just one each. So where are you going with yours?
I'm going Rashee Rice, wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. The rookie out of SMU looks fantastic. He's seen his snap count up to 50% now over the last two games. 12 targets over the last 2 games. 5 red zone targets over the last 2 games. Would have gotten into the end zone twice 2 weeks ago had he not gotten stopped at the goal line /1. Should have, the first one should have been a touchdown, but whatever. Plus 245 on DK. Rashee Rice, baby.
Love that. Those were some juicy odds. And hopefully catches one of the 3+ touchdowns that Mahomes throws, as we were talking about earlier, that I have going. All right, I'm going Devontae Smith. You went through Dallas Goedert, how he could have a good game, but I do think Devontae Smith is kind of he's due to find the end zone now. AJ Brown's been the guy, but again, I think defenses might be keying in on him more, especially in the red zone. Devontae Smith kind of flying under the radar, but still like an elite route runner, really good hands. I think he's going to catch one here. I was in on this pick, and then I pulled up JB Berry's wide receiver cornerback matchup report over on Fantasy Alarm. If you haven't checked that out all season, definitely go pull it up right now. He breaks down every single receiver matchup against cornerbacks, who they're going to be playing against, whether it's good for DFS, fantasy, betting, whatever. And instantly I was like, all right, because he says he's facing Akello Witherspoon for the Rams here, who has not given up a touchdown in his coverage yet this season. Smith hasn't scored one since week 2, says JB Berry. And he also says, I anticipate this being the week that both of those things change. Smith finds the end zone, a great matchup for the Philadelphia passing game. So I'm sold now that JB Berry is on my tail here.
All right. Listen,
Plus 185 on FanDuel, by the way, is a lot bigger odds than you might find on DraftKings or BetMGM. So if you want to shop around, FanDuel is the best line for that.
I like it. I love it. All right.
Well, so those are week 5 picks.
Have yourself a kick-ass week 5, baby. I can't believe we're already at week 5 right now. I
know, the season's flying right along. Yeah, gonna be a fun one. By the way, if you're looking for college football picks, I gave out a bunch yesterday on the show, so definitely go back and watch that. Also have a best bets article on Fantasy Alarm because week 6 in college football is also gonna be a really good one to watch tomorrow's games. But yeah, Sunday's NFL action should be awesome. We'll be back on Monday's show to recap all of our wins and losses and give out picks for Monday Night Football per usual. So good luck to all your own picks this weekend. And, hopefully we'll all come back on Monday with a little bit of green in our bank accounts for going into Monday Night Football. Howard, awesome stuff as always. And good luck with all your picks. Hopefully we hit a little middle on that Colts Titans, right?
I would like to. Ooh, what's Smokey just throw in here?
Oh, Smokey's got
Allen, 1.5 touchdowns. Monty, TD, Bijan plus 2.5 receptions. I'm in with that, Smokey. I'm in with that.
I'm in on that too. The Allen, Josh Allen prop will help my over in that game, so I'm definitely in on that. You're on the Montgomery prop, so I think you like the touchdown, and you're on Bijan Robinson, so.
Yes.
There you go. Mr. Scamper's chiming in here. Alec Ingold plus 1,800 DraftKings anytime touchdown. Ooh, those are some juicy odds.
Looking for that fullback smash to happen.
It could happen, right? I wouldn't put it out of the out of the hands of McDaniel and the Dolphins offense at this point.
Scampers, that play is dirtier than your beard.
All right, we're gonna get rolling here. Howard's got another show to prep for, so we got to get out of here. But thanks for everyone tuning in, and again, we'll see you guys Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern back on Bettor Sports Betting. Thanks, guys.
Peace.